Hey everybody, welcome back to another MMO Classes. Yours truly, Derek T. Stevens, alongside Mr. 50 Shades of Nelson, and I know Mr. Steve Curtis is here, and we have a few more people in the class right now kind of filtering in. I'm going to be talking about robots tonight and some of the various art topic stuff. So if you want to bring a few people in, Mr. Nelson, we'll see who's here, and we can get started.
Well, everyone should be already in here.
Mr. Gisba here?
Nope.
Then who else is here?
We should have a Lance.
Nitro.
And we have a Nitro.
Hello, Nitro. Hello, Lance. How are you guys doing tonight?
Good. I think Lance has no mic.
Yeah, he's micless tonight.
All right, no worries. We'll just keep an ear out for him anyway.
And I thought Nick was supposed to be coming along, but we'll see.
I talked to him earlier today, so hopefully he will be here. So, no design stuff tonight, correct?
Correct.
Just all art stuff. Yay, art stuff.
It's all about you, buddy.
As it should be. As it should be. There we go. Get some more realty space. Realty. Some
Realty?
space. Realty. There you go. Space. I got robot heads tonight. And I have more down here for the robot, for machines and stuff like that. I was going to like model out a robot and like, you know what, I'm thinking almost like a snap together sort of thing. I can do a couple of different looks for heads and see what you guys think and see what we should go with or not with and then start piecing stuff together. That was my plan. So we can start here in a second. Do you have anything to show tonight, Mr. Steve?
Not a darn thing.
Wow. You even slept in today.
Well, if by slept in you mean I went to bed at 4 a.m., so I got up at 10.
Well, you said 3 earlier.
Yeah, you're right. It was 3. It was 4 the night before.
All right. So what do you guys think of the heads so far?
Oh, Nick's here.
Hey, Mr. Gisba, how you doing?
Doing good. Just woke up from a nap.
Good
Well,
man.
good. Excellent. I'm glad that you were awake and you were here. Yeah, Nick is like, hey, download those robots things you did and put them in the Dropbox. And I looked for them and looked for them like, crap, I think I forgot to save those things. So I'm going off memory here.
I like the front profile of the top one,
So, yeah.
and possibly the side profile of the third one down the bottom. And maybe the last one, I don't know.
Again, they're all...
The only thing I might do is split them from front to back right in the middle and chamfer that so that you can chamfer the face out instead of just being flat.
Okay. I can definitely do that. That won't be a problem.
Yeah, that's pretty easy. Just to round it a bit.
It is split. Dun, dun, dun. And I'll take care of everything else here in a little bit. But again, going for that big boxy sort of feel that the drawings were, I personally like this guy right here that I'm mucking about with. I like it at short, it's compact. Again, if these guys are going to be smaller than our heroes. And of course, I have like the Optimus Prime looking thing right here. And
Yeah.
a
Now that you
Gundam.
mention it, I'm liking that last one more as well.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm liking the last one too. I think you should put the little, like, ear things or whatever they are on the side of the top head on the smaller one there. Like the low profile one on the end.
These little bitty guys right here.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Gisba,
Yes.
I take it you have some models to show for us tonight as well.
No, I didn't, because I sort of gave up when I didn't have references, because the stuff I did wasn't particularly interesting to look at.
What?
I was uninspired yesterday.
That makes me very sad. Makes me very sad indeed.
He did do some nice looking concept pieces though.
Well, then we'll have to look at them here in a second.
That
And
are
he-
totally unrelated to the MMO, but he did them.
Well, one of them's a spaceship. That could be related to the MMO.
That's true. That's true. I stand corrected.
So something more like this then, and we'll bevel, and like you said, chamfer some things as well.
Yeah, I like the low profile on that one, and I like the ear things. They make it look really cool from the front.
Yeah, I think that's good.
All right, cool. We got something to go for here. Go with here. Here's my big, the shoulder area, and then the start of the chainsaw. Again, messing with poly counts instead of having a cylinder or whatever this is called at here. Frame up on this baby. Come on, get here. What I did, instead of subdivisions of 20 on the axis, I'm cutting everything down to 10s. Again, 10.
I normally like working in things that are divisible by 4, so like 16, 12, that kind of stuff, just because it's easier to break apart later.
That's a very good point. And it doesn't cost that many more polys to do something like that.
Yeah, that way you can divide it easily into like 30 or 30 degree-ish or 20 degree-ish sections.
I like that. It's a very good tip. Anyway, this is where the arm's going to go. And this is all subject to change as well. The whole thing for the chainsaw. I did put some geometry in here, some just plain sticking out. On the inside where his arms are going to be at, I left relatively bare. I figured we can do a lot with textures on that, again, saving on poly counts because we have a lot of these guys running around. You know, cut where we can and save where we can, sort of thing. This is the start of the leg area where the knee is going to go. Let me open up my crap. You'll have to take my somebody else's screen while I look for it. So this robot I drew earlier, and had to reboot my system, so I lost that one. And then here's the arm here for the gigantic shield-looking thing, and of course we can make the shield bigger if we want, or smaller if we want. But this is what I was working with today. I'm glad you guys like this face here, because that is the head I was kind of going with as well. So your thoughts?
It's looking good.
What's the poly count up to just with the pieces you have, just out of curiosity?
I'm sorry, I'm sipping my coffee. You know, I don't know now my poly count thing up here. Display. Heads up display. It's not at you. Where do they keep this thing now?
I don't know, I'm a max kid. I just hit 7.
Yeah, we don't do that. Wireframe, polygons. I'll find it here in a second. It's under my display, my Windows area. But no, I haven't really checked it out. I just been mindful of how to keep things low, and we have all these objects selected. Anyway, that's what I've done with. Why don't you show me what you've done, Mr. Jizba, even your non-related stuff, so we can talk about that. I see we had a couple more people in here. Is any more of the artists in here tonight? That's a big fat no.
I guess
Awesome.
so. Hey, Derek, scroll down to that leg piece you're working on. Right up around the top of it. If you really want to save polys, one place you can do it is a lot of those insets we can just do with a normal map. They don't actually have to be modeled.
Oh, okay. That would save a lot.
Yeah, that'll take, you know, what do you got, 12 polys down to 1.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. How about the insets through here? Do you want these, or do you just want them?
Well, basically the rule of thumb is anything that'll be in silhouette, you want to actually model it.
Okay.
But if it's not part of the silhouette, then you can get away with normal mapping a lot of it.
Yeah, so those things on the ends you could normal map just because they have that edge around them that won't ever show up in silhouette. They're like inset.
Okay. But they look so damn cool. But you're right.
Yeah, it makes your model look a lot less cool until it's actually textured and normal. But
And the other thing I was thinking is if you're gonna use a lot of polys, like the place to do it would be something to cap the end of one of those like cylinders, just because if you have more polygons around the edge of it, it makes it look a lot rounder. Like when you start getting down to, like I can see the edges of that in game, like, depending on how small it is, and that always bothers me. So I normally go with higher poly count cylinders just to cap the ends of other cylinders, if that makes sense.
But again, I mean, depending on how you texture it, maybe you want that kind of blocky, geary look. But
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, I agree. If it's anything in silhouette like that, that's the place to spend it.
So yeah, like the big joints on the top, you're going to want to have more polygons, but the cylinders on the inside that are connecting those, you can actually get away with a lot. You can probably get away with even like 8 on those inside ones.
Okay. I'll keep that in mind then.
Yeah, it's just like, it does a pretty good job smoothing out anything above 8, like 8 or above, like when you're looking at it from the side, but as soon as you look at it on the end, that's when the polygons start showing up. So if you have some big cylindrical element, you want the end, you want it to be a higher poly count going around just so you can actually see the roundness on the end, usually.
Works for me. Words of wisdom to live by. Thank you. So that's the robot that I've worked on this week. And we have no other artist here, which is kind of baffling and upsetting and gives me diarrhea. But that's neither here nor there. I didn't really say that.
All right. You did.
I did. It's for everyone to hear. Go and take Mr. Jasper's screen. Let's see your spaceship.
Even Nelson left.
Yeah, I know, right? Looking pretty darn good, dude.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's I borrowed a painting, like a digital painting book from somebody, and I've been following tutorials on how to do like grayscale stuff and turn it into colored things. It's turning out pretty good so far.
I found that if I start off in grayscale and coloring on top of that, it just makes things a lot easier, more realistic. It takes longer, but it looks a lot better.
Yeah, like when I'm not using a reference, it's just so much easier to compose the image if I do it like grayscale with landscape stuff than black and white, or than color, I mean. And then there's the other one I did that isn't really related at all.
What do you mean it's not related? That could so be like a level. That's nice.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I could see that. Maybe like some Alethean structures, and I don't know. Would it be constantly blowing up in the middle though? Because that was supposed to be like an island getting lifted out of the water.
The way I see,
You could have
Yeah.
some sort of like water vortex under it.
Yeah, you could do that.
yeah, the way I looked at it, I thought it was like a levitating island.
Yeah, that'd be cool too.
Yeah, looks nice. I like the deep shadows that you got there.
Yep. So that's basically everything productive I got done this week.
That could be an arena and a little cinematic at the beginning whenever they come to it of once everybody's in, that whole thing lifts up like that so no one can get away.
That'd be kind of cool, actually.
That's what I was actually thinking about too. Of course I was.
I know you were. I just wanted to say it for you so that I could be as cool as you are.
It's true. I've seen Steve in dance tights, and he goes to dance. He is cool.
The only problem is we'll have to get rid of like the foliage clouds. They look like trees.
What?
It's good for roughing in though. That was my critique last night when he showed it to him. Like, I like everything but the clouds. They look like foliage. He's like, yeah, that's what I thought too.
Oh yeah, I can see that now.
But
Or
once it's one of those things where once you see it, you can't unsee it. So I'm just like, those are floating trees with lightning.
well,
Shouldn't have pointed them out.
Yeah, I know, right? But at
I'm
the same
I'm a
time,
bad man.
that white could be fog, and it could be such a dense fog that those are trees on the other side.
Yeah, I could go add trees in there, like the trunks of them. That could work too.
All
See,
you
it's
would
good
need
to
to
have
do is
different.
just blur that a bit.
Yeah, I really don't feel like going back in and editing it though. Like, I have other plans for my next drawing session.
Well, good. Keep up the good work, man. All right, well, hell. Steve, why don't you talk about why don't you talk about Nelson, or Mr. Nelson? Why don't you talk about what you've gotten done with the MMO so far? I heard you've been working like a fiend on it.
Still working.
Yeah, could you take up
I knew that was coming.
could you take up some airtime and tell us what you're doing, smartass? Just a little bit. Help a brother out. None of my artists showed up tonight.
I'm working.
I do have some textures to show as well.
That'd be great.
Are those the ones that you posted?
Yeah, and I've got a few sample maps where I was testing them out.
Sweet.
Definitely love to see that. So is Nelson going to talk, or what is the plan here?
Yeah, I've been working.
You want to tell us maybe what you've been working on in particular, where you're at?
Well, mostly I've been focusing on putting together a efficient, performant RPC interface between Photon and Unity that mimics Unity's component-oriented architecture.
Nice. I'm not for sure what the crap you just said, but it sounds important.
Basically, I'm,
Yeah,
just-
Networking?
I'm working on networking stuff. It's nothing game specific. So
But it'll get us there.
I think I only understood about half the words in that sentence.
I heard Unity. I definitely heard Unity and photons. I'm thinking Star Trek. Patrick Stewart singing "It's a Wonderful Christmas" or "It's Snowing" or something.
Let it snow.
There you go. I'm thinking about that. All right, let's see some textures.
Sure.
Nelson, can you grab Nitro?
maybe. Who am I grabbing?
Metro.
Nitro.
Who?
Hello?
Hello?
Nitro? Nitro 52?
It doesn't. I don't get usernames on.
Oh, that's right.
Ryan.
Ryan.
All right. I'm terrible with names. I don't have usernames. So whenever someone's like, "Oh, put up a username," I just don't know what to do.
Okay, so this is basically a just a little terrain test I was working on. I first started off with this little island thing and sort of like the look of that, but the lighter textures didn't seem to go very well when I started out sort of playing around with like cliff shapes. So I have been trying out a few different cliff types, and I'm not really sure which one I'm liking yet.
Cliffs tend to work a lot better if you actually like create geometry for the sides of the cliff, just because the textures get super stretched if you don't do it that way.
Yeah, that's one limitation, I guess, for Unity and that as well. These are the textures that I've been generating.
Was that Wolf?
Nope.
Nope.
There's just a few different versions of some of them, like a reddish sandstone type texture, yellowish one, and some cliff ones.
So now how did you create the textures? Just all in Photoshop?
No, I found this cool little app called FilterForge, which allows you to generate just tileable textures. And you can come in and play with all your various settings. Let it generate something different.
Nice.
You
fast.
can actually go into it, and if you sort of learn enough about the filters, you can modify it and come out with your own stuff. But I need to learn a bit about that.
That's pretty darn cool and very fast.
That's a standalone?
Yeah.
I thought FilterForge was a plugin for Photoshop.
It is a plugin for Photoshop as well, but there is a standalone app. And the good thing about it is on their website, they've got a library where people submit their filters, and there's hundreds of them out there.
I always say cheap is good, but free is better.
Yeah, unfortunately it's not free.
Ah.
It's about $200, I think, but it can be worth it.
I love that texture. It looks like a bat scab.
Oh, it's 119 right now, 70% off.
Does it? Yeah, so in addition to that, I was sort of working on the first sort of level as well. So that's kind of that's
Nice.
based off the concept art that, well, I think it was it Gisbert that did that?
Yes.
Yeah. So the river, the desert sort of landscape with the river going through the center and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, I need to play around with like these cliff-like structures a lot more.
I think that cliffs will actually be better off like creating a model for.
Models.
Yeah.
Yeah, possibly.
And the other thing that we need to have is some way to get down to the river, because that's sort of like critical to the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's easy to put in later. I haven't really done too much with this one. So yeah, that's what I've been working on.
I appreciate it. Looks good. And we are moving forward. I was talking to Steve today, and he was telling me about Nelson working on X, Y, and Z. And it got me all excited. And I'm like, well, so what do we need to be working on? He's like, just keep doing the art stuff, because there's going to be a time, hopefully soon, where Nelson's like, okay, now I need all the art. I'm like, yeah, I can kind of foresee that. That's going to be a booger. We have one Lethean model that is halfway done, and we have snapped together robot heads. So we're going to have to get moving on this stuff.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to listening to you scream and freak out when all of a sudden he's like, I need 200 art assets. And you're like, what?
I'll be saying, Steve, I need your help.
Mm-hmm.
So did you model this guy?
No, he comes with Unity.
Yeah,
That's,
he comes
that's
with
their third-person
yeah.
guy. The mechanic.
That is still very cool. All right, Mr. Jizba, then, what is it that you're going to want to work on for next week for sure? I want to do it all, Derek, because I am that awesome and I'm still muted.
Yeah, I'm trying to
Well, the,
decide what we need more than anything else, because like, if we have one robot done and you finish your robot, that'll be good enough to start prototyping. So I'm thinking I might actually try like model some rock spires or something to get into the game, just because those seem like things we need.
That's a good
Yeah,
idea.
it is.
At the end of the day,
Like
people don't really
structures.
think about it, but environment stuff is like 70% of the modeling.
Yeah, so I think I'm going to try to work on the rock spires and those two bridges that were in the map, just so we have something visually interesting up the river in the middle.
I like that idea. That's really good. And Wolf was supposed to be here with his ideas for some of the structures tonight, and I'm sure he's always good about being here. So I hope he's okay and his dog or cat didn't die. I forgot what happened. So I hope he's doing well. And I talked to Mr. Ray. He should be back next week. I know I said this week, but he should be back next week. So we'll have another art guy or a writer guy at least to help flesh out the visions and everything. Mr. Steve Curtis, any thoughts of wisdom from you?
No. I have no wisdom. Why would you think that?
All right. Well, we're going to have to talk. Go
I
ahead.
definitely think that environmental stuff, we do need one character, but like your robot will do as far as prototyping for stats and stuff. So other than that, I would say getting a lot of environmental stuff done is probably the next big step.
All right. Structures, rocks, more rocks.
Trees, yeah, whatever.
Thank God this is a desert. There won't be many trees.
So one of the ideas actually I had while I was doing this as well is in the map being Alethea and stuff, maybe there could be these sort of crystal-like formations. I was thinking having actual crystal models sticking out of the ground on top of this.
Yeah, that's
nice.
one of the things we were talking about was doing like the big crystal-y stuff. I think it was like 2 or 3 classes ago that we went over that stuff.
Yeah.
Yep.
Possibly.
So we'll have crystal models to put on top of that for sure.
And I do,
And
that is one of my favorite textures once it's blended with some of the others.
yeah, it took me a while to sort of get that right, simply because that particular filter didn't really allow for me to blend too much. But what I end up doing is taking it to Photoshop and then layering the dirt texture over top of it and blending the two together.
Yeah, that's very cool. I liked that one.
So do I. So, and I like that it's
Comments
purple.
on the other ones? The other textures?
That rock face right there, I like the cliff rock face right there. The one with the really
Yes.
harsh scratches. I think, like Jizba said, you need more geometry in there so it doesn't look like it's just stretched.
Yeah, that's right. I've also got to try to make sure that they're not sort of too realistic as well, I guess, because it may not
True.
match the art style of the models.
Yeah,
It seems
a few of
to-
those could be cartoonied up a little bit.
They seem to blend okay in Unity though. Like they don't look too bad once they're in Unity. I think they get distorted a little bit, which helps.
Well, as some like the really light, just kind of sand texture, I wasn't overly thrilled with when I just looked at the texture square. But when
Yeah.
you start painting and blending them, then it becomes a different matter. So it's hard to just critique it as a sheet, you know. But I thought they were all very well done.
Oh, yeah. Very good.
Yeah, it starts to stretch here, the texture, unless you start smoothing it and get a bit of a slope going.
Yeah, anything steep like that, we're going to be much better off just creating assets that we can stuff over it.
Yeah, that would be good. But I'm not a modeler, so I'll leave that up to you guys.
Well, you're a fine texture artist, especially for not
Yes,
being a
you
modeler.
Yeah, how'd you find out about this program?
I think I found it through a YouTube video learning about Unity. Someone mentioned it, and I went, "That's awesome! I gotta get that."
Good. All right. Well, hell, we're gonna call it a short night tonight, and Steve and I are gonna talk about that. I'm down to like no artist, and we're supposed to have art night. And I apologize. I did quite a bit of the model, but I feel that we're to the point now where we just need to show up with our work done and critique the work, then get back to work instead of wasting 2 hours of time going, well, how about this? How about this? How about that? Sort of thing. Especially now that we're down to very few artists, I don't feel it's right for Mr. Jizba to create 50,000 different assets for us to look at for one class and to me to do the same thing. Does everyone?
I'm perfectly okay with that.
Yeah, you suck. I'm making smiley faces for you right now.
Yeah, these meetings could just be to sort of demo and get feedback and stuff. It's always good.
I definitely think we should do that. Definitely, it's not sound like Rain Man. Definitely, Kmart sucks, sort of thing. We're in the beginning when we had so much of this world unexplored. I think the meetings times for 2 hours was great, but now that we're focusing, we just need to focus and we need to work more. So does anybody else have any thoughts on this? Nelson's like, woohoo, 1 hour class, they're great.
You could also, in the future, you could also be prepped to just actually do some work during class time. And
Yeah, I thought about that.
use input from everybody there.
We can try that as well. What do you guys think? It's just, we can definitely explore that avenue.
I missed that. What was that?
Using class time to actually do some work in front of everybody. We can take different screens and show different workflows and stuff like that, what we're doing and how we're doing
Oh yeah,
it.
that's possible. And good. You at least get to learn some stuff, I guess.
I think it's a great idea.
You get to learn a little bit, and people who are not familiar with one discipline or another will start to get introduced to it, and it'll make your workflow easier down the road when you all have to work together on something.
Let's plan on
Yeah.
that then.
It could also be interesting having that direct feedback while you're working as well.
Yep.
Almost like working in an office with everybody right there next to you, which is nice,
Pretty much.
instantaneous feedback. Let's try that for next week then. I'll continue to model my guy and get him to a point where I can throw some more detail onto him, and I'll at least demo that for 15 to 20 minutes next week. Mr. Chisba can show us his bridge and how he's created that, and we can critique that as well. And I would love to see more of these textures, how you did these. I mean, real time, if that'd be cool with you.
Yeah. Yeah, that should be okay.
That way not.
Yeah, I would love to see how that works. That would be neat.
The textures can take some time to actually generate though, depending on what they are. And my PC's like a Mac Mini at the moment, so it's pretty crap. So they might take some time to generate. Like this one here, I think takes a long time.
But even getting to see the workflow would be cool.
Yeah.
I've never
Very
even looked at
conscious.
Filter Forge, so.
Maybe we could all do like our own sort of stuff during the meeting, and then sort of rotate between people to see what they've done every sort of 10-15 minutes.
I think it's a good idea. Let's do almost a new format where we come on board, we show what we've just done, we'll go through the line, bam, 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 and then once we're at the end of the line, that's when we start doing our workflow. And then at the end of the class, we can have critiques. I like that idea.
Sounds sweet to me.
All right, Mr. Disby, you ready for this?
I am. If you guys want to experiment now and build some robot legs while we were talking.
Now you're just showing off. That's crazy talk.
I love it.
Sure, why not?
I don't have any of the pistony things in yet, but like I've got what I basically work with. I pilfered most of it from the turrets.
Work smart.
Hey,
not
that's
hard.
fine. Yeah.
I like that texture though. That is really cool. That's almost a really good arena, a top-down view.
Yeah.
It's very cool. I mean, that would be a really nice freaking arena.
Like,
All right, anyway.
Like a rocky swamp.
Yeah. Mr. 50 Shades of Nelson, can you take Mr. Jizba's screen, please? That is damn cool.
So yeah, as you can see, it's still actually generating. So it takes a while.
That's pretty cool, though. I might have to download the demo of that.
Yeah, it's got a 30-day trial. I did buy it for the Windows PC, but my PC died just recently. So I'm using the trial version of the Mac version.
I feel for
they
you,
have
this
different
piece sucks.
licenses.
I feel for you. This PC sucks because both of my good ones died inside of 30 days apart.
Yeah.
I like it. It's kind of got the AT-AT Walker feel to the feet.
Yeah, we were sort of talking about doing like a heavier, chunkier looking
Yeah.
thing for the siege
That's
robots.
that's funny because you went AT-AT and I was thinking of Ed 209.
Oh yeah, I like that. That's really good. And it's relatively low poly too.
Yeah, it's only 656, so 1200 for both of them. Like that's a little bit high poly, but it's reasonable.
You got the hip area where it can rotate and move. Everything makes sense mechanically. Indeed, very well done.
Yeah, that's very cool. Now
And I
I just want to watch him model out a whole robot.
Yeah.
Yeah, show off. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, I'll do it next class. I'll come up with some cool stuff.
No, I'm in real time right now.
Right now? Okay, yeah, I can just keep going.
If he does, I'm going to go over and shoot him. But it would be interesting to see how you do it in Max.
Generally, I just build like the shapes and then start lining up everything for IKs later, so...
You have NK or IK and FK, correct?
Yeah, whatever it's called for hooking stuff up. I'm pretty sure it's the same between the two, if I remember right. It's been a while since I worked with Maya, though. But
Most of the tools are the same. They're just named differently or hid in different spots, but I'd say 95% of the tools are the same.
So here's a $10,000 question. Why do most houses for video games use Max and not Maya? What's the difference here?
Maya's cheaper than Max.
Really?
Yeah, I actually looked at it. I mean, at least it was a while back.
Dude, we don't need me to put you on the spot.
Looking at the two of them, I always thought that Maya was more intuitive for animation and Max was more intuitive for modeling, and that was why I kind of always thought film houses tend to use Maya and game companies tend to use Max. But that's just personal observation. I have no idea why, really.
I'm gonna take that mirror off. It's getting in the way.
Right, so explain to us what you're doing here.
What I'm doing is I'm doing where the hips would connect to the body, so I'm doing like the joint real fast. All I'm doing is shift dragging out the parts. So just copying and then rotating them. It helps when you actually hold down shift when you're doing that.
I hate it when shift drag doesn't work and you're like, oh, damn it.
And I'm making instances of stuff, what I remember to, just because that way I'll only have to texture it once, because any changes I make to the original one will change all of them, assuming I remember which one is the original one. It's always been my problem before.
That's funny.
This is where I get to bust him and say, name your parts as you make them.
No, that doesn't happen, because ever, it seems like.
I'm the worst at it.
So what's the robot going to look like? Do you have a sketch in mind?
Absolutely nothing. I'm just modeling it, and if it looks good, I'll go with it.
Huh.
I'm sort of sticking with the same basic shapes just because it's easier to get an idea of what I'm going for if I keep like the same sort of chamfer boxes and all that good stuff.
I agree. When it comes down to drawing, it's basically the same shape, circles, more circles, and some ovals, and that's how you get stuff, and you finite the detail afterwards. All right, so your cylinder there.
That's going to be like the hips where it attaches to the body. I'm going to make it a lot bigger. Oop.
Modeling in real time with Mr. J.
We could throw the recording on break and grab coffee and stuff, and
Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Mr. Nelson?
not be virtually standing over Nick's shoulder only works.
Yeah.
What sort of textures do you think you would like to see?
Who are you asking?
Anyone probably. I don't really know cartoony wise what way to go. I mean, in my head I see a kind of scratched up metal with, you know, areas of wear and rust and a few little painted on decals that are all scratched up, and
So some metallic textures. Is it for the robot?
yeah, that's what you were asking about, wasn't it?
I was just asking in general.
Oh, I thought you were specific to the robot.
No, so I was thinking about doing some more in Filter Forge. I could have a look at the metallic type.
Oh, I can't remember what they're called. Those cliffs in Arizona, like the Red Sands cliffs, the painted cliffs, I think maybe they call them.
Oh yeah.
I thought that would be a kind of cool. It'd be a pain in the ass to make it tile, but
Alright, I'm going to go ahead and pause the video and step aside.
okie dokie.
That it was fun.